phones and silence. Good afternoon, everyone. I am David Mullings. Welcome to another episode of Island Forward Live. We know some of you are going to be joining us a little bit as we trickle in. I'm here in Jamaica with Melarka Williams, the CEO and founder of Ingenuity Technologies. This is a digital transformation firm. It's a software development firm here in Jamaica. I happen to be the chairman of that company, recently appointed, and I definitely want to hear from him. We need to understand where Jamaica is today and where we're going, because a lot of us in the diaspora are very focused on having Jamaica become much better, right, Melarka? You're local. And we in the diaspora though don't see certain things happening in Jamaica that we have seen, whether it's US, Canada, UK. We are exposed to certain technologies, certain uses. I want an example of a project that you guys have worked on here to help move Jamaica forward and improve systems or processes in Jamaica.
Yeah. So one interesting project that we worked on was actually a company that they wanted to create a concept of a virtual post office. So how that will work is that, for example, if you, are not physically based at a location, let's suppose you're not physically based in Jamaica, and you want to have mails, you still want to be able to receive your mails. The idea is that you send your mails to a physical location. Once those mails are sent to a physical location, they would actually scan those mails into an online portal, and you'd actually be able to view them from anytime, anywhere. So that's a recent project that we actually worked on.
Okay, that's a nice one. One of the things us in the diaspora are used to is that we come to Jamaica, we have to visit some building, government or private sector, and the security guard has to fill out a book and we sign our name or initials.
Yeah.
In 2019, going into 2020, I don't think that's efficient. Is that some of the stuff that you guys also work on?
Yes. So we actually have a platform. The platform is it's essentially a digital data collection and analytics tool, and that's one of the use cases for it. The idea is that you could create a very simple form, and then that form comes with the ability for you to actually take a photo, and persons could actually register when they visit your building, they take a photo. And then the good thing about that is that there's analytics and reporting. So let's suppose there's actually a security breach. You can very, very easily see who was the person that actually visited the bank or whichever institution at a specific time. So
those are the kinds of projects that you believe are core to Jamaica advancing and just being more productive.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw, I'm going to ask you some feedback. Those of you who didn't read it, there was an article this Sunday gone in the Jamaica Gleaner, written by Douglas O'Reilly, where he pointed out that he had come back many years ago as a 22-year-old, bright-eyed. Jamaica is going to become a developed country in 20 years. And in 20 years past, and say, in another 20 years we'll become a developed country. Yeah. And so now he's hoping for 2030. And what he pointed out was our productivity is atrocious in Jamaica. Actually, if you look at, he was saying over the last 20 years, we've gone in reverse, negative productivity growth. How does an entity like Ingenuity Technologies, or IT in general in Jamaica, contribute to improving productivity growth?
Yeah, if we just start with the whole concept of digital transformation and the fact that you have different levels to the digital transformation. You have basic, intermediate, and advanced. On the basic level, you have where you're actually automating and improving efficiency for your client-facing operations. So if you're talking about a financial institution, you're thinking about an ability for somebody to go onto a portal and apply for a mortgage, which, if you ever applied for a mortgage in Jamaica, it's really a nightmare.
Tell me, ask them that. You guys apply for a mortgage in Jamaica, you know how it's paid as a nightmare, yes.
We did a mortgage 2 years ago, and trust me, we run it from one agency to the next. But if we go back and we actually look at the business and we look at what are the components to every business. Every business has 3 main departments. It has administration, HR, it has sales and marketing, and the operations. Whatever it is, the operation fits into as being the core of that business. So you think about, depending on the kind of business that you have, there are different components within that business that you can actually automate to make the business a lot more efficient and a lot more productive. If you're thinking about for some business as simple as a car wash, When I go to the car wash, for example, you think about, when I go to the car wash, they have so much physical paper that they're using to track the amount of car that comes in, that goes out. They lose some of the paper, they're actually losing revenue, for example. If they need to do some kind of auditing, the amount of time that the team actually needs to take to actually scan through those physical papers to find how many customers came in that specific way. That's very, very unproductive within itself, right? So you're thinking about just having platforms that are using digitization to automate that entire process, so you can actually get reporting. Now, if you just think about the benefits of automation and the benefits of digitization, is when you have actually digitized, you can actually start focusing on different areas of the business, because if you have automation, then you can start figuring out, all right, let me get some data.
Right.
What is my data actually saying? And you can actually, as a business owner or even persons within the company, can actually start focus on using that insight, those specific insights to drive the business. And we are working on a very interesting project right now, and that's something very similar that we're actually looking at. We're actually working on an inventory problem for a very, very large customer. It's pretty much automation around the inventory, and specifically making predictions on what items they should buy and what items should actually stay in the inventory. Now, that doesn't result in a loss of job. We even think about that people are actually physically walking around the retail store, scanning the items, trying to figure out what to buy.
Right.
What this platform is going to do is going to make suggestions around what they should buy, and the big advantage of that is that your team now can start focus on being strategic and what they can actually do to grow the business.
So that sounds like what you would see with like a Walmart that has a digital inventory management system. That's what you're saying along those lines?
It's essentially along those lines.
I remember, so when I came back to Jamaica after undergrad, I worked with Jane Small Business Loans, which is now Jane Microcredit Limited, which is now Jane Small Business Loans. And I remember visiting all their top clients across the entire country. And I would visit some of these stores, if it was essentially a tuck shop, but it was a store. When I visit, the tailor, the woman sewing, usually it was a woman that was sewing school uniforms, all these people I visited, and they all had little exercise books. And that's what they were doing, their inventory management. How much of that are you still seeing in Jamaica at the small and medium enterprise level versus people are moving to computers and starting the computers?
I think on the medium to large enterprise level, persons have a platform.
Right.
But what you've actually seen in terms of where we are from digitization, having a platform and actually the proper utilization of that platform, and then using that platform to actually get data that you're going to use to drive business decisions, create a unique value proposition and then solve problems within the organization. That's what we're seeing. So from a medium to large enterprise, we're seeing those platforms, but what we're seeing lacking is the utilization of those platforms, and then using those platforms to increase your revenue, to do all of these positive things that digitization and automation actually allows. On the small business side though, we're still seeing a lot of manual operation.
Well, I like to use the word manual, it sounds better than exercise.
Yeah.
Exercise book, them still right in the inventory.
Yeah.
Alright, so talking directly to the diaspora, we looking on the outside, especially those, they're watching on Jamaicans.com. This is the largest website for Jamaicans anywhere in the world. And not all of them come back as often as somebody like me. I'm here every month. So I get to see some, but if one of these members of the diaspora was to ask you, what 3 things would you work on for Jamaica to become better between 2020 and 2030 to accomplish Vision 2030 around the productivity side, your space? I'm not asking you to give me economic advice, but just 2 or 3 things on the business side that you have seen and you said, we need to fix these or we need to improve this. And tell them.
Yeah, I would say the number one thing is just I would say e-government.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say electronic government. Having one central identity. The national ID program, the NIDS program, for example, that we have in Jamaica is trying to solve that. But having just everybody has one specific identity, and you can go on a portal to do all your government. So, for example, if I want to pay our taxes, just go online, we pay every single tax, every single government functionality that we need to access. There's a platform there that we can access it by. That's one key thing I'd actually
passport application,
application,
everything.
Every government function that you think about, because if you just think about it, you think about the government and the government wanting to collect more taxes. One of the things I learned about business is that the number one thing is that you should have no barriers on payment.
Yeah.
You should have a million.
Make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, make it as easy as possible for persons to pay. So that's one key thing. The other thing I would say is some kind of disruption in payments. That's one key thing in terms of so right now in terms of the percentage of persons within Jamaica in terms of the unbanked population is actually quite large. So not a lot of persons have conventional bank account. So some kind of solution that actually gets those persons to move from unbanked into some kind of banking system, so that they can actually go online, purchase whatever they want to purchase, or they can actually pay specific persons.
I like that. So that is interesting, because that's exactly what India has done. India made sure they started get moving from unbanked and underbanked, get them into the system. And the way they did that was with a national ID program, similar to what Jamaica is trying to do in needs. Those of us in the US especially have a social security number, and that is our national ID. You can use that to run a credit check, you can use that to check on our assets, you can do debt credit ratios, easily apply for a mortgage, passport. And we actually don't have that in Jamaica. We have a TRN, which is a taxpayer registration number, but that's separate. That's not a. You're not born and get a TRN.
Yeah, it's not a master identification number as yet. Master identification that we're trying to do the needs play to get that master identification number. So, that just solves so many problems. You just think about like the KYC at the banks and
that's know your customer rules, right? You know it's so hard to open a bank account. You have to go and get 2-letter reference and so on. That's KYC, know your customer rules, because we need to worry about AML, anti-money laundering, right? So that's why it is so. Right now, it's extremely hard, especially in the diaspora, to open a bank account here. So you're saying the NIDS program, a master identification number would allow us to actually
more
make
seamless,
more seamless, just easier to that kind of.
More
and it's just like a US social security number.
Exactly, more seamless for you to get an account at the bank and to conduct all your financial transactions.
No man, I like that one. So eGov and a master identification number. So that makes sense to me. We've seen a comment. Big up Brooklyn in the building. Thank you for the first comment. Appreciate that. Feel free to send any questions that you want to discuss. We're talking about digital transformation and the future of Jamaica. Most of you keep hearing this Vision 2030 thing. Well, in about a month, we're only going to have 10 more years to get Jamaica to be a developed place. We in the diaspora are very concerned about that. I think my parents' generation, for the most part, would love to return to Jamaica to retire.
Yes.
But we need to see things that are up to scratch compared to what we have in America. So whether it's online banking, you're saying, man, the biggest one, you buy property. You need to transfer the property, you need to pay your property taxes. They don't want to stand up in a line for 3 hours. Well, give me any other topics you want to cover, what you think, or how you think the diaspora should be thinking of helping an entity like yours or Jamaica. So do you have any ideas? Have you ever thought about how we could participate in that digital transformation of Jamaica?
I love that question, and like one of the things that I think that we have to do, and if you look at what has actually transpired in India, is it's just the fact that yes, you have the best and the brightest and all those really smart persons actually leaving Jamaica and going abroad, and then when they have actually acquired all that know-how, right? I think that they some of that know-how has to really actually be redeployed into Jamaica to actually help the country to grow. So I would say that's one key thing. I mean, if you have worked abroad, you have worked at a really large company, whatever, vertical, government, or non-government, or private sector, come and work at an Ingenuity or work at another company, maybe, do 3 to 6 months working on that specific company, helping that company to grow or helping specific verticals to grow. And who I see, they're, top 5 consulting firms like the PwCs, they do it like McKinsey, like you think about PwC in Jamaica, for example, they might pull on a few guys from India or from North America, and they come and they actually help with market development.
Wow.
So I think like a similar play like that in terms of helping to develop the country could actually be something that's beneficial.
So I remember the former Consul General in New York Brown Metzger, CG Brown Metzger, spoke at a diaspora conference when I was there. And she used a term that I really liked, a phrase. She says it's not her, I don't remember who to give credit to, so I give her credit. But she said we need to turn a brain drain into a brain gain.
Yeah.
And the way to that is exactly what you said, is that there's nothing wrong with going abroad, right? 70% of tertiary educated Jamaicans leave every year now. There's nothing wrong with going abroad and getting that experience working at a Microsoft or Facebook, Cisco, or wherever it is. But then you can bring that knowledge back to Jamaica. Not necessarily even move back, but come back down. You could work for 6 months, work a year, and stay in Jamaica. You could join an advisory board, you could sign on and help these firms like yours actually scale, implement ideas, share knowledge, open doors, open networks for them. So I like that, that's a good one. Is there any other way that you think the diaspora can directly have an impact on digital transformation of Jamaica, knowing that it is going to be critical because we're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
If we, the world is digital, so if Jamaica doesn't transition to more digital than paper, we're going to have continued really low growth. So we have growth below 1.5%. What else have you thought of from the diaspora side to help companies like yours or other companies?
Well, I mean, I don't know if the first one I mentioned was investment, but
no, you didn't mention it. I don't. You see the one I'm trying to pull it out time, right? We're trying to pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, so I would say investing in, I would say definitely investing in companies that have really high, export potential within Jamaica.
Right.
I would say that's one key thing that the diaspora can do, because they're especially like for kind of new companies that are, for example, very high tech based,
right.
Or technologically driven companies. There's not a lot of traction around investment within that specific community right now, because people are still putting a lot of money into real estate,
right.
Into the tourism market. But if you think about, if you're in the diaspora already, you're already seeing like just how fast the valuation of Facebook, Uber, and all that. So you have seen the use cases.
Yes.
So you don't need anyone to try and convince you what's actually happening in tech.
I'm going to pull it up.
Right?
Yes.
So I would say, do a few investments, do a few deals with some companies here locally.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to give you some. Who is this? I say I'm watching. Thank you for watching. I just posted a Twitter thread today. It's Wednesday Wisdom, right? Talking about investing. And there's just some interesting numbers. I'm not saying that you're supposed to. Early stage investing is tricky, but if it's more public company, it's great. But I want to give some interesting stats about, I use Netflix as an example. So this is a technology company that was moving us from physically renting DVDs and mailing them to now streaming online. And waiting for the images to load, I have them on my iPad too. But the idea is that if you had bought Netflix 5 days ago, you'd be up roughly 7%. You'd feel good, right? 30 days ago, you would be up 10 point something percent. Be kind of smart. If you bought it 6 months ago, though, you'd be down right now. You'd be actually negative.
Yeah.
But if you bought Netflix 5 years ago, you'd be up 409%. And if you bought Netflix when it first IPO, this is back in like 2001, 2002, you'd be up 22,000%. I mean, I pull it up this right now. I can go through the exact numbers. It was very scary. So if you had bought Netflix when it first came out, invested in after, it's just about to go public, right? It has traction, it exists, has some revenues coming in. 22,585% gain, right? If you had bought Netflix 5 years ago, 490% gain. 2 years ago, 57.8% in 2 years. So I'm trying to explain to people that a Netflix or a Facebook or Microsoft, Apple, Cisco, none of these companies, as far as I'm concerned, can be founded in Jamaica and scale to those numbers, because there's a lack of equity capital, a lack of risk capital is what they say.
Yeah.
Right? Because we used to have all these high interest rates for government bonds. So the government, you just invest in that. Nobody needed to buy anything.
You don't need to do any work.
Yeah, don't just buy it and earn 22%, 14%. That has now come down because our debt to GDP ratio we love it. It's fallen below 100% finally, on its way to 60% in the next few years. Has that freed up capital to talk to you? Are you actually seeing investors in Jamaica approaching you now, or is they're still more focused on, all right, let me go into real estate, the safest thing they can think of?
Yes, I think that they've started to have the conversation around talking, but in terms of making the necessarily big moves, they haven't necessarily done those big moves as yet.
Right.
But the conversation has started. They have said, hey, this is something that we actually need to do.
Right.
And I started looking in that direction. But I haven't seen like a big, deal flow, because investment is all about trends.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, it's all okay, how much VC money flowed into Jamaica in the tech space with last year.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to be left behind, right?
Right.
So
we're good.
so I mean, so if you're not seeing that if you're an investor numbers and seeing those numbers growing, then maybe there's not a lot of incentive for you to actually
So do you think the next 2 years is going to see a lot more money flowing to private companies that have a high growth potential like yours and these other tech firms that are clearly focused on the transformation of Jamaica? And if we don't, we lose out.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're going to see more of that. And we talk about digital transformation and disruption, and maybe that's going to be a disruption, because in terms of like capital from outside, from the Caribbean, from the wider Caribbean, outside Caribbean, the wider Caribbean actually disrupting the conventional financial space, and actually a guy, if you're actually a high growth tech company, you no longer have to say you have to go to a conventional financial institution, because you can actually access capital from anywhere in the world.
Okay,
so I think
talking about I just said to my share, wow. No, you said one of your shares is going down red line 2 days after. It's scary. No, well, talking about investing. Well, remember we want to invest for the long term. I'm a Warren Buffett guy, so wait, don't unless a company going bankrupt, I think you need to be careful about that. But yes, don't watch your portfolio too closely unless you retire in the next few years. But yeah, talking about investing, invest in what you understand, and that's exactly why we're talking about digital transformation. That is something that we in the diaspora feel that we understand. We might not actually understand it, but we can see how there are certain things that technology has enabled for us in first world countries, in developed markets, that we're not seeing yet in Jamaica. And we can help. We want to see them. We care about Jamaica. A lot of us still have family down here, friends. We want to see progress. And so that's one of the things they say, is that we could actually, as a diaspora, invest down here and bring new capital down here. We are not as risk averse as Jamaica. So we earning less than 1% on a CD in the States in the bank. So you think we should really concentrate on doing it?
And I guess if I'm in the diaspora, I'm thinking, well, does Jamaica or does the Caribbean has the talent to build some of these, build some of these products that that's going to be a unicorn, that's going to be valued at $1 billion or more. I always say there are certain components, or there are certain things that's actually required for innovation and transformation.
Right.
I think just people, technology, and culture. I mean, we have the right?
People, technology, and culture.
Yeah, I think for innovation and transformation, those are three very three components. I mean, we have the people, we have a really cool culture, and we have the technology. And when I say we have the technology, for the first time in our life, I think that the drive, or a key economic driver to GDP in terms of tech, we finally have it. In the Industrial Revolution, whenever all those raw materials, whenever the economies are scale.
Right.
We think about what do we actually require, what's actually required from us now to contribute. I mean,
we need
two smart guys, we just need to code.
And then we need some cash to market it.
And we need some cash. So we already have smart ideas already.
Right.
We already got people who code it. And then the third piece is that foreign capital.
So what would you say to the person, the outsider, or even the local Jamaican, that says, yes, we have humans, we have people, but our people are not trained, right? 80% of Jamaicans don't have any certification for the job that they work in. So you cannot have somebody in Jamaica that is at the program or quality level of Austin, Texas, or the Silicon Valley, or even India, Infosys, or the Eastern European countries. What would you say to them? Do we actually have enough human capital that's qualified, or is it that we have raw human capital and we need to train them?
Yeah, I would say we have raw. I mean, they're experienced persons within Jamaica, really good. But we also have a lot of raw human capital that actually need to be trained. But there's actually a solution for this.
Okay.
If you just think about the fact that we're using agile, everything is agile right now, and you're building agile teams. And agile teams, maybe you want to build a product, you have a 3 to 5 person on your team. The idea is that you could actually, one person on that team, whether they're a senior or a junior, there could be somebody that has worked globally. So you have 4 persons here, you have 1 person that has worked international, that has been
Probably from the diaspora.
Probably from the diaspora, pretty much augmenting that team and actually sharing all of those lessons learned.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's how you recommend that we can combine and build expertise that way.
Yeah.
So then the question is it that another way the diaspora could help is to find people who are doing coding boot camps or that kind of training and then help to support it either via a non-profit and donations or directly helping to start that kind of stuff, or come down and do a summer camp if you have experience at Jamaican that worked at Microsoft.
Yeah, I would say, come down and run essentially run a
Come down and run a
summer
summer camp.
camp, run a few hackathons.
Diaspora hackathon.
Yeah, tap into the local system here and get to know a few persons, see what persons are actually doing. There are some really good ideas here. And then you build a few relationships from there and then you see where it actually goes from there.
Alright. Anybody that wants to do that summer camp coding hackathon, call me. I definitely can open some doors and connect you with Melarka as well, and we can always work together. I like that idea. I think that's a really good one because there's a lot of people in the diaspora who are normal, we're middle class, we're struggling week to week, month to month, paycheck to paycheck. We are not accredited investors, we're not rich, we can't really take the risk on the early stage.
Yeah.
But we have ideas, we have some contacts that we might be the ones that work at some of these firms, or we have family members or friends that work there. And we could use our energy to bring someone and say, hey, would you be willing to come to Jamaica and do a 3-week boot camp or a 2-week boot camp? I can open the door for you. So that's a way that you're saying that we can give without having to be like, you don't have to be rich, you don't have to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then, especially, you're a manager within the US, that means you have some influence over the direction that the company is going. It means that you can also help with market access, that there's an additional value that you can provide to someone who's actually based in Jamaica that's actually building some kind of product. Because you can actually help them with market access to specific products to get them to get their few sets of customers.
No man, I really like that. So when I think about it, I try to explain to Jamaicans in the diaspora, and then just non-Jamaicans, just regular Americans, why I care about investing in Jamaica. So Jamaica is ideally located in terms of geographic location, and that's for shipping, that's physical stuff. But I think it's also ideally located from a cultural standpoint. And as I said, we have a really well-known, well-liked culture, Jamaican culture. Anywhere in the world you go, we all know, say, if you just wear a Jamaica shirt or a Bob Marley shirt, you're good. So, in my opinion, whatever you launch in Jamaica that works here, yes, it can work in Trinidad, can work in Barbados, elsewhere, the wider Caribbean, but we can then take that same software and that solution and go to Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. You go to Kenya and Nigeria, Ethiopia. I mean, these are 30 million, 80 million, 110 million people markets. Do you agree that we won't get lost in translation? We could go from Jamaica to
I think that's a perfect play. I think the play is that you use Jamaica as a sandbox to essentially, get your acquire your first few customers, perfect your business model. And then use that to pretty much scale to other markets.
Okay, well no, so I like that. I'm not crazy then.
No, you're not crazy. And one very interesting thing as we just go back to the 3 things that we need to drive innovation and transformation, and we go back to culture.
Culture.
So I remember being in Miami. I was in Miami with you last year, December, and I was we're at the family office event, and I was pitching to a few persons around, the fact that we're going to be doing innovation and transformation, and we'll be doing the biz dev in Miami, and we're going to kick our engineering work back to Jamaica, right? And they said to me, why should we give you business? And I tell them that we're talented and all that. And the last reason I actually mentioned was the fact that coming to Jamaica, if you come to Jamaica to work or for business meetings, it will be like coming on a vacation. I say, you know what? That needs to be a first reason.
Let's start with that.
Yes.
The first pitch is that if you want to come to Jamaica, businesses are going on vacation.
Yes, so start with that
Start
first.
with that.
And maybe you're going to be 70% there. And then you talk about the other stuff.
I'm one of them, that's how our call centers, the BPO industry is actually getting so many clients. They say, hey man, you don't want to be flying all the way to India, you fly to Jamaica, it's like a vacation.
I think it's exactly that, because you just look at, just the growth in terms of geographic location. It's Montego Bay, and Montego Bay Airport is always there, so you come in on a Friday or a Monday, and you get a party.
Very touristy at the same
Very
time.
touristy.
So all the BPO is pretty much, the majority is over there.
They've just really started expanding into Kingston, so
Wow.
I think that must have been the play.
Okay. You probably watch this and bring up the BPO. So we can move up the value chain, right? India started with just call centers, they answering calls, answering the phone, and then they started moving up the value chain, so we can do back office work where there's accounting that we need to do, or we can do digital records, medical records, we can do medical billing, transcription. Those are all more value added. So start, and then you need to move up. We can't just compete on price based on it. So no man, and I think those are some really good stories and some interesting ones. Anything else you think?
I think the key thing is, so we've started with the BPO sector, the lower scale than call centers and all that. But I think that there's some key component, there's some key skill sets that you're going to need, or you person that are working within those sectors in terms of you're working within that sector and you're working on an account or project company, your reliability, your commitment to work, just seeing people that has won or seeing people winning. So you're used to being a part of that culture.
Right.
So you become emboldened then, right? So I think that all of those skills that they're learning, or all of those skills that we're actually learning the sector, as we move up the value chain, it's also going to be something that's actually very, very beneficial. So I see it as being a very, very good thing.
Okay, so you keep touching on culture now, and you talked about seeing people that have a certain work ethic. We in the diaspora tend to look at Jamaica and just see it as lazy for the most part. We're still stuck on Caribbean people time, right? We take so much longer to show up to get anything done to the business. We're inefficient, and I've not yet seen anything that shows me that we are different about that. How do you address that within your own company? How do you get them to have a work ethic that's more like a Silicon Valley or Austin, Texas, a US type mentality? We get stuff done now, hit my timelines, hit my targets.
So I think, from day one, in terms of just when we start prospecting, when we start interviewing persons, we're looking for, there's just certain things that we're actually looking for, right? So it really starts there, it really starts at the selection process. So I always say, look, if we're looking for a university student, somebody who's just recently out of school, we're looking for that guy that is going to tell us a story about it. They were always the one to get their assignment done on time. When everybody said it was impossible, or when, if you have, our exams are set already, our exams are actually constructed, the last one is probably 2 or 5% of the person actually supposed to get that last question. Right? So we look at a person and say, listen, I always think about that one other question. So it really starts at that. And I'd say beyond that, when you've actually brought them to the company, spend all the time onboarding them, selling them our vision, explaining to them what we're actually doing. And then notwithstanding that, I would say the key thing for us is having actually systems in place to ensure accountability. Right. So one system that we have actually our project management system that we actually use to manage all the projects that we're actually working on, and there are all of these key performance indicators like Burnley that can actually tell us how we're actually performing on a project. And because we're working in a very agile way, we're not waiting for 2 or 3 weeks or a month or 3 months to actually know if something is wrong. We're actually producing weekly sprints and we're doing weekly iteration so we can easily detect what's happening.
So how do we translate that from a company to a country? How do we get Jamaicans in general to realize that time matters? The Prime Minister recently said that we need to start thinking like Usain Bolt. We wanted to think in Usain Bolt time. We need to become known for that. How would you translate some of what you have done within the business, if you had the power, into the country adjusting our culture to focus more on timeliness?
I would say is that we just have to start. How I like to view these kind of things, I think that we all have to start within our community. So if you come to Ingenuity, for example, and you have learned all of these skills, everybody that works inside Ingenuity, we're all from different communities. So, when you go into your community, you tell persons about these skills, you tell them why it's actually important, and then we just create like a wave right across Jamaica.
So that's all like the movie Paid Forward. Two people, another 2 people, and it builds from there. So that's a nice way. Starting as a wave, you go into your community and pass on what you've learned and focus on timeliness, which then comes back to mentorship being a thing and caring about having an impact wherever you are, even if it's just 2 people.
Yes.
Alright, that's a really good answer. I set him up for that one, but you seem him smart. Melarka have sense. So, well, we have another 15 or so minutes. We have some people, a nice group watching. Not too many comments or questions at this think if we bring up a very serious pain point, a lot of comments will pop up and say, yeah man, I really think I know that. But any other pain points you can think of that digital transformation can solve in Jamaica?
I guess I can think about a pain point. I can think about it directly or indirectly. I would say, the foreign exchange.
Foreign exchange, okay.
Yeah, we're all being affected by the foreign exchange, right?
Right.
And if you think about what's happening in the foreign exchange, what's actually driving, the devaluation in Jamaican dollar is a large component is actually driven by the imbalance between what we're actually importing and what we're actually exporting.
Right, trade is a problem.
Yeah, trade.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, well, what does tech really have to do with that, right? And what part can tech actually play? I would say, I think the last study I saw, the ratio of ICT imports to export was about 65 to 1. So we're importing
65
times more
than what we
exporting. So I would say, well, what can we actually do with that? Can we actually start exporting more ICT services globally? So start exploring it globally. We have our cost that's in Jamaican dollar, and then we're earning, foreign exchange. Very well needed foreign exchange that's going to be sent back into Jamaica. I think that can actually be utilized to.
So we're going to have to touch on that and pause there and really noodle on that one, because this is important. So the dollar is not just devaluing; it's going up and down. It's within a band, but so it dropped to 140 one other days, back to 138 now. So we're trading within a band, so it's fairly stable. But the fundamental reason that happens is that you're exactly right. We are a nation of consumers. Not a nation of producers. And it's three things, and the diaspora knows this especially, but there are three things that primarily give Jamaica our foreign exchange. One is remittances, 2.2 billion US dollars are sent back every year and growing. We have bauxite, so mining for the most part, and then we have tourism. Those are the three main areas that we actually earn foreign exchange, because agriculture is struggling and sugar dead, banana basically dead, life support. Obviously, the diaspora only has a certain amount of money they can send back, and then that's being sent money to family. That's not to go and invest. Yeah. The second one is bauxite, and we see prices just dropped for alumina. They literally have to shut down the factory, and that took almost 1% off of our growth rate right now. We get hit, so we're below 1% because that closed. And then we have tourism, but one hurricane can cause a problem. Tourism is growing, thankfully. But one hurricane cannot knock out. So you are saying that we should be looking at having software, right? IT services replace one of those three. I'm
definitely saying that. I think that there's an additional play apart from services, because we can actually go to hardware. And if we just do a little segue and look at just all the economies that are really growing really fast over the last maybe 10 to 20 years, a tech play is a they all have a very key tech play. Now they have technology doing something. So now look at my phone.
Yeah.
And this is an iPhone 6S Plus, right? I'm saying, alright, so we have all of those, those minerals, those materials that's been manufactured within the bauxite sector. A lot of it's actually been sent back abroad.
Right.
They're just, I think maybe there's probably about 10,000 parts inside of this iPhone, right? Can any of those components be actually manufactured here? Can there be a regulation that says that, instead if we have to 50% of that, whatever we produce has to go into some kind of building some kind of product.
Well, that's interesting. I would say so when you look at Costa Rica and how they managed to grow, one of the key things they did was Intel. They had Intel come and set up a plant, and that way they could do fabrication and then assembly there. And because Intel came and partnered with the university, they had to prepare people for the jobs that Intel was going to give them. That was important. So the human capital was going to be there to be trained. And because Intel came, it allowed Dell and these other companies to come and create a cluster around Intel. So I know the Chinese are working on a project built around light manufacturing, and that's going to be alumina based. So it's not just aluminum. Bauxite turns into alumina, turns into aluminum. 60,000 jobs are going to work on that. So that's along those lines, but that's not in the tech space.
Yeah.
But it could be in hardware. But that's what I said, we should be looking at building out essentially a tech cluster in Jamaica that could do some hardware, some software, and services. This is where makerspaces will come in. Actress Corporation of Jamaica sitting on $1 million US right now from, I believe, is at Inter-American Development Bank, maker spaces. I want to see 3D printers around the place for people to mess with and look at fabrication and then go and scale. So that's the kind of stuff you're saying. We need to be creating our own original intellectual help assemble someone.
Yeah, and whenever we talk about this and we talk about the high end of tech, the number one thing that people always ask about, they say, well, do we have economies of scale?
Right.
And that's what they normally use to kill the argument of should we be playing in tech. But I always say, look, focus on a niche.
Right.
Like we don't have 300,000 engineers, we don't have 3 million engineers, we're not India, we're not China, we don't have all of that. But can we actually find a niche, compete in that niche, provide a very unique value, and then we don't necessarily have to compete on price? That's what I actually want to see us doing.
No, I like that. I mean, I would say you need tech to do, tech runs everything. So for example, Jamaica is the land of wood and water, but we have a ton of sun. We're known for our sun, right? Sun, sea, sand. How come we haven't had original technology here developed around solar? We can manufacture it somewhere so it's cheaper. We could design, have the stuff designed here, programmed here, tested here, manufacture it somewhere else that's cheap, that's fine. We could assemble here if we want. So manufacture the parts in China, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, assemble it in Jamaica and then distribute to the entire Latin America and Caribbean region.
I think that's an extremely good point because there's just so much sun here. So why are we not?
How come we're not leading?
Yeah, how come we're not leading? Why are we not doing major R&D work here on sun? And there's nothing wrong with us leading the R&D and actually leading the assembly somewhere else. Apple does that. They do a lot of assembly outside of the US. There's nothing wrong with that. They're controlling the IP, so they're still making a lot of money.
No, I agree with that one. I like that one. I like that one as a good example. I never really thought too much about hardware. I was so focused on scaling much quicker. Obviously, hardware doesn't scale as quickly. But so another one I get to touch on then is what about like cloud computing in the sense of we need data centers. Cost of electricity matters, but Jamaica's cost of electricity is coming down, thankfully, because of liquefied natural gas and the solar. That is, we have the largest solar farm in the Caribbean. So our costs are coming down. We do have a heating problem. Jamaica is hot, so that means you need to cool the place because things heat up really quickly. So you have to have AC, that's why we need that cost. But do you think Jamaica is ideally located to house data centers that Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure could actually host a node here in Jamaica, or is that something that we don't really?
Yeah, so I said, I want to look at it in terms of data centers. I would want us to target data centers that actually compete with like a Microsoft or an Amazon.
Oh, okay.
The reason I say that is there are some companies that are not going to put their data in an Amazon or Microsoft because it's very possible that an Amazon or Microsoft is competing with them now. And then they're competing with them 5 years from now. No, so we can actually target those specific niche markets for data centers and actually build them out. Maybe they could be powered by the sun.
Yeah, solar power.
And that's an interesting thing because in terms of some of the main things that are actually driving or import. In terms of what we import is actually one of them is actually just oil. We're just buying so much oil because we're buying so many cars, and because we're buying so much cars, the fuel bill is actually going up. So let's try solar.
Okay, no, so I think that's some really good stuff. We have less than 8 minutes left to wrap up. Anybody have any questions? Please send them comments. Send them. We always appreciate you guys here. This is not meant to be just a talk show, but we want to make sure there's some interaction that is going on. That's the reason that is live. Otherwise, we could just shoot a video and post it, and you guys can watch it whenever you want. So I like the comments so far. Anything else you want to say, feel free to send it to us, and we follow up. If I get comments after the show, we can always do a part 2 and ask Melarka to answer some of those questions. But I think you're getting some good ideas. We've talked specifically about replacing paper being a big thing. We've talked about the fact that e-government is a major aspect of what you think the diaspora would appreciate, and Jamaica. That would help us. You also specifically talked about the lack of something like a social security number. We don't have that here. We need essentially we need a universal ID that we can then use for everything, and that will make it easier for us to own property. That is digital transformation. And then we talk about actually looking at hardware, the assembly side, designing things. If it's not assembly here, we can design, test, and then actually manufacture elsewhere where it's cheaper. And then finally, the diaspora has two ways that they can directly help. We could say three, but number one, it can invest in these kinds of companies. We're lacking that risk capital in Jamaica itself to come and invest. And then number two is that we could actually use our knowledge and our experience to the trading. We could do a coding boot camp in the summer. We could bring that knowledge down here and share it. We could work as a consultant 6 months, 1 year in Jamaica to contribute to that digital transformation. That's what. Did I summarize fairly?
Yeah, that's pretty well summarized. And I mean, for even persons that are really not even within the diaspora, that they could actually come here and work with companies, because if you're not in the diaspora, for example, one of the things that you need to do to make yourself competitive with a potential employer, you need to have international experience. So,
yes.
Global companies are increasingly looking for persons that have experience working within a third world market, because they see these as high potential growth there, so you can actually still come here.
Yep, no, see, so I hear that one. So this one says, enjoy the discussion and left Jamaica at an early age. You know, a lot of people left Jamaica at an early age, but you know what, Jamaica never left you. Want you back, want you to participate, you can live where you are, come down to some work for, as he said, 6 months, a year, and it's good to actually get that international work experience, as Melarka says. When you imagine working for a company like a Colgate, you come to Jamaica, you learn about some inventory management, how they're doing here, you go back to Colgate in the States and say, hey, this stuff is working in Jamaica, we can roll it up to our other Latin American and Caribbean markets. So yeah, man. What is one? I am in favor of the ID. Yeah, man, we need to just make sure we don't breach the constitutional rights of individuals, and there has to be some peace. But yes, I think every Jamaican abroad in principle is in favor of a single ID, and it made a huge difference in India. So we're hoping that gets done. We definitely know that you guys will end up working on a number of projects if that gets done, because people will be finally able to, whether it's credit risk analysis, make it easier for small and medium enterprises to raise money. So, oh man, that would be great.
Yeah. And as we talk about, as we actually look to finish up, and digital transformation seems like a really big word, but a lot of the problems that digital transformation actually solves are actually problems that us as Jamaicans, as Caribbean people actually encounter.
Right.
And it's those problems that I think that actually frustrate us on a very, very daily basis. Right. Whether it's as simple as calling a taxi, right? And you can't get a taxi, or security because
checking on the bus.
Check on all of these problems that you have, all these frustrations that you have when you're just going about your daily life. These are the kind of things that digital transformation actually solves, and it's the reason why it's needed.
Right, and we don't want to import what's already made in the US, UK, or Canada, because we're already importing 65 times more in the ICT space than we are exporting. And we could develop our own solutions here that are cheaper, that then actually work elsewhere and earn foreign exchange for Jamaica. Earn, not beg, earn foreign exchange.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I really like that. Any closing comments to the people?
And I think the good thing about that in terms of us doing it is that I think once you have actually seen somebody like you do something, then persons who are actually growing up within the Caribbean can kind of feel like, hey, I can actually do it too. You think about maybe the 90s, everybody used to cheer for Liverpool. Right?
Yes.
Because I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I'm just saying, right? But whether you're a Liverpool fan or not, and you want to be a footballer, you actually think that, look, I could actually play internationally. So that's what we want to do in the tech space. Create a real success story. It doesn't have to be me, or whoever is successful, but then you create a movement and people just start feeling like, hey, I can do this too. And we have that entertainment, we have that in track. So even if a man can't really run fast and believe that, look, I can be an international runner.
It's been done.
It's been done, and I can connect with somebody that has actually done it already. So we actually want to do that in the tech space.
Alright, well, I like that. They still think bigger. We need more examples of ICT firms in Jamaica helping to earn foreign currency, contributing to the transformation in Jamaica, making it better. We need to move from inefficiency to inefficiency, as Michael Leachin said in my previous videos. So I really want to say thank you, Melarka, for being here. We really are giving us more insight on the ground in Jamaica of how and contribute to a better Jamaica and how we in the diaspora can participate in that. So I really appreciate it. Tell these people thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, and join us the next time we decide to come on.
Yeah. And tell them where they can learn more about
So to learn more about Ingenuity, you can visit our website www.ingenuitytech.co. Once you go on the website, if you want to reach out, you can hit the contact us page, send us an email, give us a phone call. Our contact information is also there.
And anybody you know to get me, right here, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere, Blue Moho Capital. Check it out, and don't forget, register to vote in the Global Jamaican Diaspora Council. Elections are coming up, registration is still open. We should be participating, we should have a voice. You should get to decide who is going to be an advisor to the Minister of State out of the US, UK, and Canada. Full disclosure, I am running in the Southeast USA, the lower 14 states, so consider me as one of the people, but definitely register, participate. That's the important part. Register and participate, be part of the process. And then let us play a continued part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. That's why we want Jamaica to be central to that. So thank you, really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
One love.
Yeah, man.
Big up.